In the shadowed folds of Obanaqui, a village born of dreams and nestled in a misty valley where ancient baobabs reached for the heavens like gnarled fingers, a weary traveler stumbled upon a crumbling mud hut under a moonless sky. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and wild cola leaves, and from within the hut came a whisper, soft as silk, sharp as a blade slicing through the night. Kofi Mensah, a merchant battered by fate, froze at the threshold, his heart thundering. Legends of the witch of the Whispering Vale had haunted the palm wine stalls, tales of a voice that could bend destiny. Desperation, however, cared little for fear. With a trembling hand, he rapped on the door. It groaned open, unbidden, revealing a hunched figure silhouetted against a flickering fire. "Enter if you dare," the witch hissed, her words coiling around him like a serpent's embrace. Kofi stepped forward, unaware that this whisper would unravel his world and unearth secrets deeper than the roots of the veil itself. Kofi, at 35, was no stranger to loss. Once a prosperous trader in Obanaqui, he had bartered rare cola nuts and vibrant cloths woven with stories of distant lands. But misfortune had struck like a storm. Caravans plundered by bandits, goods ruined by relentless rains. Now, he and his wife, Adwoa, clung to survival in a thatched hut on the village's fringe, their 8-year-old son, Kwesi, wasting away from a sickness no healer could name. Kwesi's laughter had faded, his small body shrinking daily, his eyes dull where they once sparkled. Kofi had exhausted every remedy, herbal concoctions from market peddlers, fervent prayers to ancestral spirits. Driven by whispered rumors of a witch who could heal with a word, he sought Ya, the enigmatic figure of the Whispering Vale, whose voice was said to weave miracles from the threads of fate. Inside the hut, Ya sat, ancient as the baobabs, her skin cracked like sun-baked clay, her eyes glinting like fireflies caught in twilight. The hearth's flames danced unnaturally, casting shadows that seemed to murmur secrets of their own. "What do you seek, mortal?" she asked, her voice a velvet hiss that slithered into Kofi's soul, chilling his blood. "My son," he stammered, falling to his knees. "Kwesi is dying. They say your whispers can save him. I'll give anything, please." Ya's head tilted, her tangled hair writhing like living vines. "Anything? A bold vow. I can breathe life into your boy, but you must fetch me a vial of starlight essence from the ebony pool, deep in this vale. It's guarded by spirits and illusions, but if your heart is true, you will prevail." Kofi nodded, swallowing the dread that clawed at his chest. He didn't question how she knew of Kwesi, or why her gaze seemed to pierce his very being. Under a full moon's watchful eye, he ventured into the vale, clutching Ya's map, scratched onto a strip of bark. The forest pulsed with life. Branches creaked like mocking laughter, leaves whispered as if trading secrets. Phantom hyenas lunged, vanishing when his machete swung. Paths of mist dissolved beneath his feet. Yet Kwesi's frail face fueled his resolve. At last, he reached the ebony pool, a basin where starlight shimmered like liquid obsidian. As he filled a vial, a strange warmth surged through his veins, intoxicating and perilous. He hurried back, the forest's eyes trailing him. Ya accepted the vial with a knowing smile, her fingers curling around it like roots claiming soil. "Well done. Now listen." She leaned close, her breath cold as river mist, and whispered words that twisted the air like smoke. Kofi felt a spark of power, as if the stars themselves hummed within him. "Speak these words to your son, and he will rise. But heed this. Whispers carry echoes. Betray the balance, and they will return to claim you." Kofi raced home, reaching Obanaqui as dawn painted the sky gold. Adwa's tears fell like rain as he whispered Yas' incantation over Kwesi. The boy's cheeks flushed with life. His fever broke, and he sat up, giggling, demanding yam porridge. The family's joy echoed through the village, and whispers of Kofi's miracle spread like wildfire. His fortunes turned. A lost caravan arrived unscathed, creditors softened, and his trade flourished. He built a grand mud brick compound, draped his family in fine cloths, and hired healers to guard Kwesi's health. Obanakwi hailed him as blessed, but the whispers of the Vale lingered in his dreams. At night, faint voices hissed on the wind. Thief, betrayer. Kofi brushed them off as exhaustion, but shadows crept into Obanakwi. Crops withered in neighboring fields, their leaves curling like clenched fists. The village well churned mud, forcing women to trek miles for water. Kwesi, though vibrant, began sleepwalking, muttering words like ripples on a stream. Adwa's gaze grew sharp. "What did you do in that vale, Kofi?" she demanded one night, as thunder growled beyond their walls. "Nothing," he lied, but guilt gnawed like a termite. He hadn't confessed his sin. At the ebony pool, greed had whispered louder than duty. He took not one vial, but two, hiding the second in his granary, dreaming of selling it for a fortune. Just a precaution, he told himself, but the lie tasted bitter. The village's troubles deepened. Goats vanished, leaving only claw marks that faded with the sun. Whispers of a curse rippled through Obanakwi, and suspicion fell on Kofi's sudden wealth. One stormy night, Baba Ose, the village elder, gathered the people in the market square, his voice cutting through the rain. "The spirits are wrathful. Someone has defied the old ways. We must call the seer." Amma, the blind seer, arrived with cowrie shells and herbs, her presence calming the crowd. She cast her shells, her breath catching. "A whisper has been stolen. The witch of the Whispering Vale guards the balance of life and death. Her essence was taken, not borrowed, but thieved. The thief walks among us, and until it's returned, Obanakwi will wither like a rootless yam." The crowd erupted, accusations flying like sparks. Kofi slipped away, heart pounding, but Kwesi followed, his small voice piercing. "Papa, I hear voices too. They say you took what wasn't yours." Kofi's blood ran cold. How could the boy know? That night, the whispers in his mind turned to wails, revealing a chilling truth. Yas' essence wasn't mere magic. It was the lifeblood of the Vale, sustaining its rivers, crops, and harmony. By stealing it, Kofi had starved the land. Desperate, he confessed to Adwa. "I did it for Kwesi, for us," he pleaded. Her eyes blazed with horror. "Return it or we're doomed." As they argued, a pounding shook the door. Baba Ose stood with a mob, torches flaring in the storm. "We know it's you, Mensa. Alma saw your face in her shells." Kofi barred the door, the wails in his mind deafening. He grabbed the second vial and fled into the vale, Adwa and Kwesi trailing through the tempest. The forest fought back, branches lashed like whips, paths looped endlessly, and ghostly voices echoed Kofi's regrets. At Yas' hut, the witch awaited, her form now twisted like the baobab, vines coiling around her like living chains. "You heard my whisper, but ignored its echo," she hissed, her eyes burning with ancient fire. Then came the revelation. Ya was no mere witch. She was the guardian spirit of the Vale, her essence the starlight that nourished the land. Kofi's theft had weakened her, draining Obanakwi's vitality. More startling still, Kwesi's healing wasn't just her magic. The boy carried a trace of Yas' bloodline, a distant kinship to the spirits. The whispers he heard were his heritage stirring, and Kofi's greed had awakened a curse tied to his son's hidden nature. Kofi fell to his knees, thrusting the vial forward. "Take it. Forgive me." Ya seized it, her gaze softening like moonlight on water. "Whispers can heal or harm. You chose harm, but redemption sings its own song." She poured the essence into the earth, and the storm hushed. Kwesi's eyes glowed briefly, a sign of his spirit lineage. He would grow to bridge the worlds of man and mystery. At dawn, Kofi returned to Obanakwi. The wells ran clear, crops stirred with life, and harmony crept back like a cautious guest. He sold his grand compound, choosing a simple life, teaching Kwesi the ways of the Vale. The whispers faded, replaced by gentle songs from the forest, like a lullaby for the forgiven. Years later, Kofi stood with Kwesi, now a young man, by the ebony pool. "True wealth lies in listening, not taking," he said, his voice steady with hard-won wisdom. Kwesi nodded, his whisper stirring the leaves like a breeze from another world.